Hey y'all, so today I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated releases of 2016. And I have to be really honest here, there aren't a ton that are like super exciting me. Like there are a handful of sequels to series that I enjoy or new standalone releases, but in general, there aren't a ton that I'm really excited about. However, I did manage to come up with a list of 10 or 11 books that I am excited about that are coming out in 2016, and I was going to talk about them in the order that they're coming out, but then I forgot to look up the order that they're coming out or the dates for any of them, so I'm just going to put up the dates when the picture is up, and we're gonna do it that way, and I'm just gonna go down the list in the order that they're written because I'm dumb and didn't look up the dates. I do, however, know the first one on the list that comes out, and that is Passenger by Alexandra Bracken, which I think comes out on the 4th of January. This one also happens to be one of my most eagerly anticipated of the year because everything about this book just sounds super cool. From the descriptions that I've seen, it sounds like almost a treasure hunt through space and time, and the main character is also a musician, so music is supposedly going to play into it in some form or fashion, so everything about that is kind of like everything that I love. So I am really excited about this one. Next up is a sequel that I'm really excited about, and that is A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab, which is the second book in the Darker Shade of Magic series. I really loved A Darker Shade of Magic when I read it back in August, and so I cannot wait to see how the story continues on in the second book. Next up is the first book in a new series by one of my all-time favorite authors, and that is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. And that is the first book in her new trilogy called The Dark Artifices. As I've said in the past, I know a lot of people are really sick of her writing Shadowhunter books, but I am not. I will just keep reading all of her Shadowhunter books. I do really wish that she would write The Last Hours before she writes The Dark Artifices, because The Last Hours, for those of you who don't know, is supposed to be set 20 years after the events of the Infernal Devices, and it follows the children of the characters in the Infernal Devices, and that for me is a little bit more intriguing than the characters that are in the Los Angeles Institute, but I digress. I'm really excited about Lady Midnight. I can't wait to have more books by Cassandra Clare, so I think it's just a win-win either way. Next up is a book by another of my all-time favorite authors, and that is A World Without You by Beth Revis. Now, the premise of this book has me both intrigued and slightly confused because it sounds like it is a realistic fiction book dealing with mental disorders dealt with in a kind of fantastical way because the characters kind of see themselves as living in a fantastical world. So that's what I got from the description of the book, but honestly it doesn't really matter to me too much what it's about because it's by Beth Revis and I love everything that I've read from her so far, and so I'm definitely going to be picking this one up. Next up is Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which I believe is an Alice in Wonderland retelling. I've never read the original Alice in Wonderland story, but I do really like the Disney movie, so I'm really interested to see what she ends up doing with the Alice in Wonderland story. Next up is another Victoria Schwab book, and that is This Savage Song, which is the first book in a new series. This is another one that has me super intrigued because it deals with music in an interesting way. I believe in this book the main characters are fighting demons, and the demons use music against them as a weapon, and that just seems super cool. And obviously so far I've really enjoyed everything that I've read from Victoria Schwab / V.E. Schwab, and since it deals with music and it's a fantasy novel and it deals with demon fighting, I'm totally in, really excited. So next up is the 5th book in a series that I haven't started yet, but I hope to start it very soon, and that is the 5th Throne of Glass book by Sarah J. Maas. This one is probably on everyone's list because this is one of the biggest series in the YA world right now, and I am really hoping to start the Throne of Glass series very soon, so I am excited to see what the 5th book will have in store for me once I finish the first 4. Next up is the 3rd book in a series that, once again, I have not started but hope to start soon, and that is Calamity by Brandon Sanderson, which is the 3rd book in the Reckoner series. This is a series that's been pretty high up on my TBR for quite a while, and I'm really excited that once I finally do marathon this series, I will have 3 books to marathon. And according to Goodreads, we're also getting 2 more Brandon Sanderson books this year, which are The Bands of Mourning and The Lost Metal, which are the 3rd and 4th book in the Wax and Wane series, which is a spin-off of the Mistborn trilogy. Or if you consider it kind of all one series, then it'll be the 6th and the 7th books in the Mistborn series. I haven't read past the Mistborn trilogy, but given how much I absolutely loved that trilogy and the fact that this series is set in the same world, just, 300-ish years in the future, that makes me really intrigued to pick it up, and I hope to do so sometime in the near future. Next up is Stiletto by Daniel O'Malley, which is the sequel to The Rook. I've had The Rook on my shelves for over a year, and every time I plan to read it right before Stiletto comes out, and then Stiletto gets pushed backward like 6 months, and so I just haven't ended up reading The Rook yet. But right now, Stiletto, I think, is set for a summer release. I think summer's 2016, so hopefully that is the official release date and I can read The Rook and then go straight into Stiletto. And I'm really excited because the main cover that is showing on the page for Stiletto is back to the original cover that they had for it, which matches the first cover and is significantly better than the second one that they stuck to it. So I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that that is the official cover because it is super cool and a lot better than the cover change that they were initially going to do. And finally, the last book on this list is The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon, which is the 3rd book in the Bone Season series. I'm not caught up on both of the books that are out, but I did read and love the Bone Season, and I hope to read the Mime Order very soon, so I'm really excited that the 3rd book is coming out in 2016, or is supposed to come out in 2016, because that means that it'll be not too long of a wait once I do eventually finish the Mime Order. So that is it for my most anticipated releases of 2016. Like I said, there aren't a ton that I'm like super excited about, but I also have been having trouble finding a lot about the upcoming releases of 2016 except for the like really popular YA series, so maybe I've missed some. Let me know down in the comments what books y'all are really excited about that are releasing in 2016, and maybe that will give me a few more ideas as to which ones I am really excited about. As always, I will leave links down in the description to my blog, Twitter, and Goodreads. Please add me as a friend on Goodreads. I would love to be friends with all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!